At 7 a.m., I opened my door to find HOA President Sil VY Grant berating my Scarecrow like it had keyed her car. One hand on her hip, the other jabbing at the straw figure in my cornfield. Her voice thundered across the valley, demanding I remove the monstrosity, threatening property values. Barefoot, coffeeless, I stood on my porch, stunned as she ranted about county complaints she'd clearly invent. My farm sat just outside the HOA's grip, but that didn't stop Sil VY from trespassing, startling crows, and snapping photos like she was building a case for the FBI. The scarecrowed overalls, a floppy hat, and worn gloves wasn't scary. It looked like a napping farmer. To Sil VY, it was a blight on her neighborhood aesthetic. "It ruins my yoga room, VYEW," she barked, claiming she'd already filed with the architectural committee, which had no power over my land. Logic bounced off her like hail off a roof. Muttering about citations and rural rebels, she stormed off, Leah VYing me with a hijacked morning and a brewing grudge. The next day, a yellow HOA citation flapped on my gate, accusing my Scarecrow of VY Sul nuisance, non-compliant decor, and wildlife hazard. A blurry photo with a red arrow on its head screamed petty. I laughed, then called the HOA to remind them I wasn't under their thumb. They and VY Ted me to their meeting Sil VYA's stage to roast me. I went, sensing a spectacle. She didn't disappoint, delivering a tirade about migraines, neighborhood decay, and her dog's fear of my fence. The board nodded like drones. I kept it short. It's a scarecrow. On my cornfield. My land. Silence followed, then Sil VYA's huff. The board promised a re-VYEW. I left, knowing they'd regret poking this bear. That night, sipping coffee on my porch, I stared at the scarecrow's stitched smile, oddly VY us to the chaos. An idea hit wild, poetic, perfect. If Sil VY hated a humble strawman, what would she do with a real showstopper? For 3 days, I worked in my barn, building a human-sized frame with wood and PVC, padding it with foam, and topping it with a mannequin head. The kicker: I used Sil VYA's public social media photo arms crossed, sunglasses on, HOA wrath personified, turning it into a VYNYL face mask, VY a Photoshop, and a custom Rapsair VYC. I added a tracksuit, a dollar store bob wig, and a wooden clipboard. At dawn, I planted the Sil VY a replica on the property line, facing her house. By 7:15, her scream rivaled a banshee's. She marched over in a robe, red-faced, nose-to-nose with her likeness. "This is harassment," she roared. I sipped from my thermos. "Sheriff might want a selfie with it," I called. She sputtered about lawsuits and moral decay, then fled. By noon, neighbors flocked for photos. Teens posed, parents laughed, someone brought popcorn. The replica was a star, and Sil VYA's war had just begun. Next morning, cars slowed to gawk. A teen's VY Deo of a mock argument with a replica went VY captioned, "Sil VY in her element." Sil VY emerged at 9, sunglasses hiding her fury, pacing before her doppelganger, filming it like a deranged documentarian. "Local man's targeted harassment," she narrated, measuring to claim it was on HOA land. It wasn't. TMY boundary was precise. A hand-delivered HOA notice cited unauthorized display and likeness exploitation. My lawyer, Nate, laughed, suggesting more cameras. "They're burying themselves," he said, noting Sil VYA's filming might violate my rights. The neighborhood chat exploded with meme Sil VY appointing, captioned, "You're ruining my VYB." Another showed her beside her twin, Sil VY versus Boss Sil VYA. Cookies and compliments poured in. The replica united a fed-up community. Sil VY called an emergency meeting, accusing me of psychological warfare with fake stats on morale decline. She cried mid-speech, pausing some board members. "Choose CI VY lighty or chaos," she pleaded. I countered calmly, showing my property line, the public photo, and Nate's letter on her lack of jurisdiction. A chuckle from the back sparked applause. Sil VY hissed, "This isn't over," and stormed out, pointing like a VY lane. I added a sign to the replica. Local art, do not touch. Neighbors crowned it with a tiara and tied balloons. That night, Sil VY paced my fence with a flashlight, muttering. My barn camera caught her, but I let her stew. Silence greeted the next dawn, eerie and thick. My camera's lens was smeared, 4 hours of footage gone sabotage. Sil VY's voice carried from her porch, loudly plotting a restraining order, claiming fear of a statue. A glimpse of her in black, creeping at midnight, confirmed her desperation. Flyers appeared, blasting my obsession with the replica signed by her fake concerned citizens. Neighbors defaced them googly eyes. Let him farm, scrawled in marker. Laughter replaced whispers. 2 neighbors VY sight done with cobbler, another with petitions to oust Sil VYA. Her fines for dented trucks and bird baths had worn thin. I hired an artist for a hyper-detailed second replica, documenting every flyer and trespass in a just-in-case folder. Sil VYA's new floodlights bathed my statue. I countered with tarps. Her noise complaint about the replica's eerie sound flopped the inspector left laughing. Thursday, Sil VYA's Citizens Tribunal in her yard was a farce. She ranted about defamation to confused loyalists. A neighbor's gifted nameplate, Sil VYA replica, HOA Hall of Fame, had me howling. Past midnight, my camera caught Sil VY in a hoodie, shearing the replica's sleeve, yanking its head off. The fiberglass snapped. She tripped, fleeing. I sent the footage to the sheriff. A deputy cited her for trespassing and vandalism, silencing her lies. The headless replica stood, a cracked monument. Neighbors offered repairs. Teens wanted a sequel. I displayed in the hardware store, captioned, "Smile, you're on camera." Sil VYA's defamation claim against the store flopped. Her HOA complaint, alleging torment, failed as board members, burned by her cruelty, ditched her. Nate gathered neighbor testimonies of her harassment. At midnight, my power cut. The generator cord was snipped. A "This Ends Now" flyer nearby Sil VYA caught on camera again. The sheriff added charges: tampering, destruction. A petition with 92 signatures forced a vote to remove her. Sil VYA's rally drew 5, her threats empty. Kids chalk goodbye. Sil VY on sidewalks. The vote ousted her unanimously. Her court-ordered community, Ser VYC, followed, grueling, humbling. She apologized at a meeting, voice flat, admitting her overreach. A for sale sign sprouted. She moved, destination unknown. Her last words to me: "I didn't mean for this." I said accountability trumps intent. She left, Maximus panting in her packed SUV. Yvette Lila bought her house, launching a grooming business with my sheep and photos. Sheep Appreciation Day drew neighbors, kids feeding Pearl, Jasper in a worth more than your SUV sash. Sil VYA's dog, Maximus, had savaged my Dula 20,000 show sheep, but they were my legacy, not assets. Her lies cost her everything: home, power, respect. The community breathed free, my new sign reading, "No trespassers, cameras on." Peace settled, not silence, but the kind earned by truth and grit. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.